Right. Our first topic is introduction to operations management and productivity. Okay. So we need to have an understanding of what operations management is, or production management for that matter. Okay, production management and how it relates with productivity. Okay. So this book, it gives the example of Hard Rock Cafe. Okay, I hope you're not dissatisfied because it's not manufacturing company. Hard Rock Cafe is a restaurant, or is a food entertainment what we call company. Okay, so this topic, we will start with that company profile, and then we are going to discuss what is operations management. How do companies organize to produce goods and services? So from there, I'll explain this, and the concept of supply chain in operation management, and we'll go further. Why are we studying operation management? Why do we really need to understand operation management? And of course, we also can look at what operations managers do, okay, or even operations managers, staff or executive, okay, and other things like the history of operations management, or the heritage, operations for goods and services, and also productivity challenge in operations management. Why do we need to measure productivity? What is productivity in the first place? Okay, we can define that. And then what are the variables and the relationship of productivity in service sector as well as in all organizations. Okay, ethical issues, new challenges, operations management. So this is overview. It's an overview of what operations management is. So by end of this topic, you should be able to define operations management. You should be able to differentiate between goods and services. Okay, so tangible goods as well as services. I think it's quite clear in all business subjects. You will be able to differentiate between these two things, especially in operations management. It is important to differentiate and understand the differences that in terms of systems, in terms of the characteristics, and you need to understand the difference between production and productivity. Okay, so what is production? What is productivity? It's different. It's not same. It's not same. Production is different. Productivity is different. And you will need to do this little bit of calculation, because productivity, if we do not measure, we do not know the quantity, we won't be able to do improvement. We cannot compare. If we say productivity is low, what is low? We need some number. Okay, we need some measurement. So I will try to teach you some computation on that. Okay, and what are critical variables in enhancing productivity? Right. So those are the topics that we need to go through. Now, think about Hard Rock Cafe. So Hard Rock Cafe, have you been to Hard Rock Cafe? No, I haven't been. Okay, you might have been, but I know the conditions. Okay, it is first opened in 1971. Of course, it's an American company. Okay, it is actually a rock music memorabilia. It is actually a place in which you will be able to reflect and see, the development of rock music industry. But it's a place in which you enjoy good food also. Okay, so it creates value in the form of good food and entertainment. Okay, it's a combination of products as well as service, because the product is the food, right? The food that you actually consume or you eat. And imagine in Orlando, Hard Rock Cafe, but of course this is pre-COVID. This is not now. Now probably the numbers is a bit, changed. 3,500 custom meals. Custom meals mean you prepare individualized order, not same soba, same. This is not only one, but it is 3,500 different kinds of products produced in that place. So how does an item get on the menu? So this require some recipe, some design, basically. Some design. You need to design the menu. And what is the role of the operations manager? When you have so many products, customers coming in with different orders, how do you do scheduling of workers? How do you utilize the kitchen? So it is this situation that requires us to look it from a proper operations management perspective. Okay. Now, I said just now, you need to differentiate between production and productivity. Now, for a start, the definition of production is stated here. Okay, it says that it is the creation of goods and services. What is creation? What is creation? Anyone?
To make.
Make. Okay, make. To make or to mostly make. Okay, or to produce. Okay, where we have produce here. To make, produce. Okay, the goods. For example, if you go to a car factory, then it's actually the production of cars. Okay, production of cars. If you go to, for example, hotels, okay, so they need to produce the hotel services. For example, a nice room, clean room, good food in the hotel breakfast. So that is, that is the production of, is the creation of goods and services. So when you go into operations management, where you can put in production management, is the same thing. Okay, production management, operations management. Some book call it production management. So production operations management is similar. We can treat it as the same word. So what is production management, operations management? It is actually the set of activities that create value. So the word is create value. This is actually the same as here, create value. Because goods and services are of value. Value means something you want to use, something you want to buy. Okay, so they create value in the form of goods and services. But the most important thing is that this set of activities is involved in transforming inputs. So you need to buy parts. You need to buy materials. For example, Hard Rock Cafe just now. You need to buy the excuse me. So long never talk too long. So today I've been starting to talk a lot because of lecture. Now, transforming. Do you know the meaning of transforming?
Change. To change.
Exactly, change. Okay, give me an example of one input that we actually use in a Hard Rock Cafe. Just think about Hard Rock Cafe. What are one input that we actually use? Or you can give your own example. It's okay. You know what when you say change inputs, and you must change that input into outputs. So we need to have the materials. We need to have the information. For example, you have recipe to produce this, what do you call this? Okay, let's talk about tempura, because Japanese is very, okay, you need to produce the, fried tempura. You need to have, what do you call, prawn, ebi. You need to have raw ebi. Raw ebi. You need to have flour. Okay. You need to have oil. Okay. So these three ingredients are the inputs. So you need to use a machine to fry it. Okay. You have a fryer. Put the oil, you fry. That is transforming. So from raw material, the process is abura. you fry, then you get your output, which is your tempura. Or you can put it with rice. Okay, so you need rice also. So rice with tempura, right? So this is the transformation. That is very easy example. We go into a much more, for example, producing cars. When you want to produce cars, we need to have all the components. For example, let's look at only the assembling, the final assembling. You need to have the tires. You need to have the seats. You need to have the carpets. You need to have the steering wheel. So this is going to be installed into the car body, right? So that's why it is important to have very synchronized system. If you don't have synchronized system, that means the operation management, the set of activities that you have, that you create, is inefficient or very bad, or no structure. No structure. From A should go to B, but you didn't go to B. A, you go to D. So it is going to be destructive. Okay, it's going to, not to say destructive, but inefficient basically. Okay, so that's operations management. If you can understand that, that is going to be very important. But of course, it's it's more than that. It's more than that. Now, any companies, if you look at any company in general, there are three main functions. Okay, any organization that produce goods and services will have three essential functions, three main functions. Okay, one is marketing, another is the production or the operations. Marketing generates demand. That means they do, for example, you are talking about D2C marketing, is it just now? Shota.
Yes.
D2C business. So that is under marketing. Okay. But once marketing gets the volume, for example, there is a big order, 1,000 parts. Okay, so you need to actually produce that. Okay, to produce that, you need the machine, you need the man, you need the material, you need the method, you need the technology. Okay, so you create that product. And of course, there is another important function in company is finance and accounting. Okay, which tracks how well the organization is doing. Pays bill, collect the money. So any small company will always start with these three. If you have a small company, you need a marketing department, you need operation department, and you need a finance accounting department. Then you can start your company. Okay, it's very straightforward. But do you know, when company has long run, which is actually the most easiest to do improvement, and also the most costly, which is the most costly? Within these three, which one is actually carrying a very high cost to the company?
I guess
Yuma?
operation or operations
You think
because
operations?
because it's need human and many sometimes very big machines or
Very big equipment, efficient, big equipment. Yes. Okay. You agree, Shota? You agree? Operations is the most costly.
Agree.
You agree that operations and those use okay? I think in general you will be able to see that. I will prove to you. I mean, not I will prove. You know, the following slides will show you that. Not the following slide. After this slide, you will see how these three, functions. You know, the most expensive is operations, and the most easiest to do improvements and to to do cost savings is at operations. Okay, so this is a typical organization chart for banks. Like operation, there is teller scheduling. Teller, the people who actually work in the front desk of the banks. They need to schedule the work, check clearing, collection. So this is operations for banks. Of course, they have their finance. You compare that with airline, for example. Airlines, ground support. So you've been airport and you have taken a flight. There are also maintenance group. Aircraft needs to be maintained. You cannot, if you don't maintain the aircraft, you cannot fly. Okay. There is ground operation, facility maintenance. There is catering. Catering means prepare food for the flight. Okay. That is also under operations. Anything operations is operations. Okay. Prepare the food. It needs food. Okay. I can put for university as well. You know, university, if we put here university, you can design organization chart, university. Operations. For example, having classes like this is operations. Why? They need to decide on the time. They need to decide on the attendance. Okay, if physical, then, I need to go to the classroom, which is 404 in, in the global Meiji Business School. Global Center. So we have classes there physically. Yeah? So this is like flight operation, crew scheduling. Crew mean the pilots, the stewardess. You must schedule. If you don't schedule, okay, this is, and then flying, communication. So this is under airlines, operations. You can check out for, you can do some research and find for like hospitals. There are, the operation, finance, and marketing. In manufacturing, okay, this is, my background is mainly manufacturing. So I will give a lot of examples of manufacturing. So if you want to know anything about manufacturing, I can explain to you in quite detail. So in operations, you talk about, for example, facilities. You need facilities. You need buildings to put the equipment. So you need the construction, the maintenance of the buildings, the warehouse. And in operation also, we have production and inventory control. We need to have schedule for production. How many to produce every day? How many units? when to produce. So you need scheduling. When you need scheduling, you need material control. Material control means when to supply, for example, the tires to the production line so that the tires is available. Okay, so production. Quality assurance is also under operations. You produce a component, a part, or the car. At every stage, you need to have some form of assurance. Inspection, not only inspection. Quality is not only inspection, it's more than that. And supply chain management, manufacturing, tool, fabrication, assembly. Just now you say manufacturing, operation, they buy big machines. They need to invest big machine. But big machine we buy, we need to use. If machines buy, you don't use, so no productive. Waste money. Okay. That is part of TPS, Toyota Production System, which is also focused on operation. Have you heard of TPS, Toyota Production System? We have a topic on that in the next semester. TPS, Toyota Production System, or lean manufacturing. Right? So manufacturing must be efficient because in TPS is Nihongo, muda elimination, mura. So that is Japanese, mura, elimination and reduction, and other things, design, product design, development, detail product. Of course, the production manager it's not his one person do this thing. This is many. This is a lot of people. And then industrial engineering, efficient use of machines, space, and personnel, such as process analysis. So these are all operations. If it is not managed properly, then you will see a lot of wastage, a lot of redundancy, many underutilized facilities. Okay. So we can expand this further, right? So there's all activities that is involve adding value. You need to add value. So we call this the supply chain. Supply chain. Have you studied the supply chain before? Have you taken any subjects on the supply chain? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Little bit. One topic, one subject.
Yeah.
No.
Some topic. Some topics. One topic or two topics. Anyway, so just a revision. If you can recall, look at this supply. This is a supply chain. This is a supply chain from farmer to retailer. So this farmer collects some fruits or whatever and produce the syrup producer. And they produce the syrup in this company. Bottler, so this is probably in one company. You can join this into one company, okay? Bottler, so syrup producer and bottler, and distributor, retailer. So this supply chain, you must always think about how to improve efficiency and add value. Add value means when you do the transformation, these are all transformation. This is a bigger transformation. Okay? Transformation from raw material until getting to the end user. So it is a global network of organization and activities that supply a company with goods and services. If you try to study Tesco or even big supermarkets, Sainsbury's or Walmart, okay, you can see the supply chain. So members of supply chain collaborate to achieve high level of customer satisfaction, efficiency, and competitive advantage. So in each of these company, for example, there is one company, distributor. So he is also involved in operation management because he has to manage his distribution, his vehicle, and the time to deliver, or even retailer. For example, the retailer is 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is also operation management, must operate so that he is efficient. So this is the whole industry. If it is efficient, then you can get very high value added to the customer. Inefficient supply chain will result into customer having to pay the cost for the inefficiency. You understand? So inefficient and efficient supply chain is encompassed into the operations management. You understand? Okay. So this is very important to look at a bigger global perspective. It's a global view, and of course we can go to micro. Micro means there's a small unit in the company, right? So why study operations management? Because it is one of the three major functions of any organization. It is one of the three major functions any organization. And because of that, because all function, all our companies are made up of people. You know, how people organize themselves for productive enterprise. We always think people, okay, sometimes I also make the mistake that people is only worker, but that is wrong. Workers plus money. Management the job. Managers. Managers also people. So if managers don't design the system, procedures, the workers will not do job properly. Okay, so that's why this state here how people organize themselves for productive enterprise. And also, we want to know how goods and services are produced. Not only one, we need to know. We must know. We must know how goods are produced. Where there is bottleneck. You know bottleneck? Bottleneck means I spell out the word, okay? Bottleneck. Neck wa neck. What mas neck? Neck. If you look at the bottle, okay, bottle. Okay, why they put here? Why bottle has this neck? Nothing. Bottleneck. Bottle no tame ni wa daijoubu desu. Because if there no neck, kono bottle wa when you pour, zenbu deteguru ne. Therefore, you need bottleneck 4 bottles. 4 bottles. But in operations, for example, process A, go to process B. This is produced every 5 minutes. It produces 1 unit. For this process, 20 minutes. What happened? This process 5 minutes, this process 20 minutes. So every 1 minute, 5 minutes, I produce 1. So he can make. But there will be 3 additional work in progress. Stock. No balance line. Bottleneck. This is bottleneck. 20 minutes is bottleneck. Should be 5 minutes. Well, 5 minutes or 4 minutes. So balance line. One process, 5 minutes. The next process also 5 minutes. Dakara balance. So if 5 minutes, 20 minutes, then I produce more. I produce more. The next process cannot produce because it takes 20 minutes to do the job. So you can guide that. So we want to know how goods are produced and how to make the process smooth, efficient. Okay, and also we want to understand what operation managers do, as well as, like I asked just now the question, operation management is a costly part of the organization. Costly part. Okay. Right. This is an example which is actually showing how operations management option, if I have the option, that means if I have the opportunity to improve my contribution, to my what we call accounts, okay, to my what we call balance sheet, okay, balance sheet. So cost, for example, we have this current sales, and this is the cost of goods sold. This is the margin, finance cost, and so on. So we can have this contribution, current contribution. What if I have the option of increasing sales by 50%? So I have three options now. Increase sales 50%, reduce finance cost by 50%, or reduce production cost by 20%. Okay, look at it. So if I increase sales by 50%, that means my sales become 150,000. From 100,000, it becomes 150,000 because I have increased the sales. And because of that, I need to reduce the minus the cost of goods sold, because you increase the sales, your product increases. So the cost of goods sold increase minus the finance cost, which is actually the same 6,000, which end up 80,000, 18,000 contribution. Okay, to that particular product. If I go for the second option, that means I try to find a cheaper financing. You understand? Cheaper financing. So I say 50% reduction. This is the same because I have not increased the sales. The cost of goods sold is also the same because I have not increased my number of products. But my finance costs have reduced from 6,000 to 3,000 because I've reduced it half. I reduced 50%. So minus our tax, I have 12,750 contribution. Okay. So that is the second option. So let's go to the third option. If I'm able to actually find ways of reducing production costs, reduce, material wastage, reduce time to produce. So my cost of goods sold, because this is amount that goes into your cost of goods, is reduced by 20%. Then your margin increases to 36,000 minus your finance cost, and then your subtotal 30,000 minus your tax. So you see that by using the third option, we see that we are able to increase contribution from 10,500 to 22,500. So that is a proof that this is, of course, if I use 10,000, 10% is not going to be effective. So I need to really, find ways of reducing production costs, and that is going to be normally the highest contribution. Okay, so that is, of course, you can do some, changes and see what does it affect. But in general, that's why many companies, they go and try to reduce operations costs when this, when you buy a new company. When you buy a new company, the first thing is operations costs. Okay, that is normal. 99% of mergers are also being done to reduce operations costs. Right. Do you want to take a 10 minutes break or 5-minute coffee, or you're okay? Dah jumpa dah sekarang.
I'm okay.
Oh, you're okay. Okay. Then we can just It's only like half an hour, 40 more minutes. So do you have any question on this? Do you have, some doubt about this? Are you comfortable with this this calculation? Do you know where the numbers you can get the numbers from? Simple, right? This is straightforward. これは簡単ね。優しいでしょ。
I have asked about increased sales revenue with
by 50%.
I think if increased sales, there the amount of product is increased and the cost is decreased.
Higher.
But なんていうんだろう、規模の計。
So this cost of goods sold may not be as high as 120,000. Because cost of goods sold is 120,000 from 80,000. Once we increase this, because when we increase sales, meaning that we increase the number of products. Because this is done by marketing. Only marketing can increase sales. This is marketing option. This is finance option. This is operations option. Marketing, they have to do more marketing. This is also not shown here. More marketing, more, increase sales.
I want to say, I want to ask about economic of scale. I thought
of scale. It's not considered inside here because economies of scale is another, another aspect. Okay, so we assume there is already economies of scale. The company is producing high already, but we are thinking of, what is the option for increasing contribution to the to the company in terms of whether a marketing strategy is important, a finance strategy is important, or operation strategy is important. Okay. So in our case, of course, there will be times when finance option is going to be important. I'm not saying that finance should be removed, okay? But when you're facing with difficulties, normally companies will go for operations cost reduction strategies. Like what I said, when you buy a new company, first thing you try to, increase or reduce operation costs. Reduce operation costs. That's the first, strategy. So what does operations managers do? Well, in general, this is basic management function, correct? Planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. Planning is to determine what are the strategies. It involves strategic planning, it involves long-term, medium-term, short-term. And short-term also you need to plan your resources and so on. And it results into organizing, okay? Organizing in terms of who to do what, when to do, and that's why you have organizational structure, okay? So these are basic management functions, okay? And it results into staffing. Staffing means who is going to be doing this kind of what we call roles. For example, manager role, what we call executive support staff, and so on. So how many units? So it's staffing also. And leading in terms of becoming managers or becoming leaders in groups or in departments, and controlling. Okay, you need to be able to measure performance of the company and see whether you are heading in the right direction. Do you have good KPIs, key performance indicators for the companies? Okay, so controlling and control, cost control, I think Japanese are very good in control. Some companies, okay, some companies, because you do a lot of very detailed control, cost control, and so on. Okay, target costing, like Professor Suzuki, target costing, ABC, you know Suzuki Sensei? Shiranai, Suzuki Sensei. Anyway, in Meiji, Deputy Dean for GSBA, Suzuki. Never mind, these are the basic function. So if you want to become manager, you need to know all this. You need to be good at this. Okay, you need to be good at this. In operations management, there are 10 strategic decisions. Okay, 10 strategic decisions. Actually, we will discuss it more detail in the coming lecture about these 10 strategic decisions. Okay, which actually involve a lot of things, but each of them is actually a part of a chapter that you're going to cover. You're going to cover. So it involves design of goods and services, because before you can actually have operations, you need to have products. If you don't have products, you cannot create or cannot make the product or services. You cannot have the services. Okay. So design of goods and services is an important strategic decisions of the company, because it will determine how large the facilities need to be, how small the facilities need to be, where you go to the storage. Okay, is the storage huge, small, and so on. So design of goods and services is actually important for the organization. Okay. And then managing quality. So we need to have a system for quality. So all these are actually strategic decisions. By its own, is going to support the whole operations management activities. Okay. Let me just probably just look at one. Okay. Have you ever seen Boeing being produced? How Boeing built 77 in just 9 days. Okay. Or you don't want Boeing, you don't like Boeing, you like Airbus. Production. Whether this is, can you see the video, or you're not seeing the video? You cannot see the video?
Yes,
Probably no sound. Can you hear the sound? Can you hear sound? 9.
I can see.
Share sound.
Is a negotiation. You probably
This is the most productive aeroplane factory in the world. Boeing's Renton plant outside Seattle builds the 737 in all its configurations for customers globally. To build 42 planes a month, you need a pretty sophisticated, pretty huge production line. It takes 9 days for a plane to do this loop and be assembled. Let's break that down. Boeing's built more than 9,000 737 since launching the single-aisle jet in the mid-1960s.
Can you hear?
And each one started life something like this, a hollow fuselage built in Wichita, Kansas, and hauled by train to Renton. Once that shell enters the factory, days 1 through 3 are really all about the internals.
So you try to
It's like building a house. First, engineers install the
this.
plumbing and electrics and the
But it's
insulation.
also project management.
On the 4th day, the tube becomes a plane. The wings go on, along with the vertical fin or tail. Workers align them
So it
with
needs to be
laser guidance.
coordination.
This is when they fit the landing gear
Different
too.
departments, different
Day
units,
5 is for the horizontal stabilizer install and the start of functional
and
tests.
to bring the
Engineers are putting wiring in now for flight control and finishing the internal floorboards.
See how
They start building the interiors up, the galleys and the
Yeah.
bathrooms. Then, on day 6, the plane comes alive. That flashing red light means there's power to the airplane. Large-scale tests are now possible. Like, does the landing gear retract properly? It had better. The next time it's folded away will be when this plane takes off for the first time. Day 7, and the plane's weight is set on its own wheels, and the engines are fixed to the wings along with their own network of wires, cables and tubes. All through the build, systems are checked and rechecked, and day 8 is a critical test of the flight control surfaces, the flaps, and the flight deck itself, the cockpit. All these parts have been checked in isolation. Now it's crucial they work together. The plane is nearing the end of the moving production line.
there is a production
On
line.
day 9, the customer gets to do a
aeroplane.
walkthrough inspection before it's towed out of the
Special-
factory. Born, in a
Massive.
way, into the big wide world. The next stop is Renton Field for ground tests of the engines and other systems. And then, first flight.
So how do you think? So have you ever seen a video on? No. So what's your
No,
opinion?
I was surprised its airplane can be made by only 7 days.
So yes, because
I don't-
because it is planned, because probably they already planned out and they already done some already but I don't think this is a special plane actually, special plane that is produced in very short time, but normally it's probably longer than that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. But what did you see inside there? You know, when what I've been talking for the past 1 hour about operations, about producing. What is your impression? What do you think that probably you can relate to the to the activities that we have seen just now? Anyone wants to share or give some opinion? Yuma, any?
Do I have to say about Boeing's product
Process
and
itself. Okay, the process
days
itself.
past?
The process itself.
Excuse me?
The activities that you see just now.
Mhm.
How do you what do you think are important? What are the important things that you think as an operations person, if you are in operations, what are the things that you see is important to be make it into a system?
I think the top manager managers
Again?
I think that very important things is planning
Uh-huh.
by manager, because many people can be controlled
Okay.
to follow the
So you
plan.
need to have when there are many people trying to work together, you need to control the activities, right? So that is why it is important to to recognize these difficulties, because some companies, they tend to assume that people know how to do things without actually having proper planning or even proper training and skills for the particular worker or particular person to actually manage properly. Okay, so I think many managers skip that. Okay, they just assume, or sometimes they just plan from theory. Okay, from theory only, from their own opinion, without actually going down and ask what is the real problem. Okay, what are the things that must be considered when you do the planning, right? You need to put in many variables or many considerations. Okay. So these are the strategic decisions, which we are going to go in more detail later on. We are going to go into the specific topic on design of goods and services. So in terms of operation, in general, we need to define what is required of operations for the new product, okay, or for the goods and services. Because we have the goods and services, what is required of operations means how to produce it. How to produce. You have the design, but the design must also consider operations. Design cannot just think about design. Okay, you can have the best design in the whole world, but if you cannot make it, it's useless. Okay, so defines what is required for operations, and also at the same time, product design will determine quality, sustainability, and human resources requirement. Because the design must, when you say can be made, as well as can meet the quality requirements. That means it doesn't fail when it is used. Okay, or it doesn't stop working when you after you have completed building it and go to the customer cannot use the product, then there is a quality issue. So design is you build quality in design. Okay, so quality must be considered when you design products. That's what design products require, a lot of other things. It's not just I have a great idea. Okay, you can make the prototype, the sample, but it cannot be used or cannot meet the requirement, as well as it is not sustainable. Or even today we are talking about products which should save the environment. Environmental issues, pollution, gas emission. So product design must sustainable, must be sustainable, especially today, especially now, not 30 years ago. Okay, today we have sustainable development goals, we have carbon reduction and so on, as well as human resources. So it's a whole thing, a lot of things that must be considered. And the strategic decisions for managing quality is you need to determine the customers' quality expectations, establish policies and procedures, and so on. Okay. Right. Any questions? Any questions that you probably, or any opinions? Any opinions? Huh? Right. Okay, I'll just continue with the other aspects that needs to be considered, which is process and capacity design. Process design means how are you going to produce the product? Okay, how are you going to make it? How many steps? How many machines? You know, how many production line? Because we will also demand will also determine the how big the facility is going to be. Okay, and how is the service going to be produced? Because once you decide the product, then you determine the process and capacity. Okay, capacity. Then you are going to commit to specific technology, quality, resources, and investment. Right? Equipment, machines, for example, cutting machines. You can use different kind of cutting technologies. You can use a simple, what do you call, grinder, or can use a simple laser cutting. So that is different, okay? Laser, using laser cutting, okay? Or water jet, using water jet to cut. So that is a different type of investment needed. How does location affects operations? How does location? So sometimes we, you know, some people say the success of business, especially for retailing, is location, location, location. Correct. Retail or food store, or even restaurants. Restaurants is location, location, location. Okay, how near are you to the customers, basically, and also suppliers and talent. So for companies that is involved in design, for example, fashion design, they are very near to the talent. They cannot be far from the talent. Have you ever imagined why France is so famous for perfume industry? All the perfumes perfume, you know, is coming from France, because they have traditionally, you know, they have talents to actually develop the smell, the nice smells that, of course, they are near to the raw material as well. And you will notice that location strategy is important because it will affect costs. Considering cost as well, when you want to locate at certain places, it is going to be costs. There are costs involved in locating near to, you know, for example, head office. If you put it in Tokyo, it's going to be very expensive. Head office of, you know, big, you know, conglomerate. But of course, if you want that name and, you know, address, then you go for, you know, Tokyo. And of course, in Tokyo also there are certain places which is extremely expensive. Okay, near the Tokyo station, for example, this high-rise, you know, big name, rather than go, or even in, I don't know, I haven't done a study. This is just my guessing. Shinagawa probably is going to be expensive also. Even near Shinjuku also expensive. Okay, rather than going away for far away out of Tokyo. Even in Kuala Lumpur, we have KLCC, right? You know, Kuala Lumpur Twin Tower. Have you been to Malaysia?
Not yet.
No.
I don't. I looked some pictures of Kuala Lumpur.
So you know the Twin Tower, Shota, you know the Twin Tower?
Yes.
Tower, Twin Tower, KLCC. Kuala Lumpur Twin Tower. So office Petronas is there. Petronas is the Malaysian petroleum company. Petronas. Okay, Petronas. So locating there is expensive, but they need to locate there. Okay, because it's the address. So anyway, location of the manufacturing facility, why you put it in China? Why? Cost. Why manufacturing, you know, and of course, you have to think about infrastructure. Infrastructure means, is there available highways, roads, ports, rail, okay? And also the logistics. If the part is big, how are you going to deliver or transport from point A to point, you know, to actually do the delivery, or even to transfer, you know, like the supply chain just now, from one point to another point, okay? And also considering government fees or taxes or local authorities, you know, so this also has to be, that will influence location. You put a factory in the village, in Naka, you put in Naka, it's going to be yasui, cheaper. Not you put it in the big city. Sariwa government no nani tax toka. So, and also cost in to buy land, or to, you know, for the utilities. Right. Location strategy. Any questions? You are very quiet. You must ask me a lot of questions in order for me to share with you know, a lot of things. Any questions? But don't worry, we are going to have the opportunity to go into more detail of location, you know, process design. So all these are a separate topic by itself, a separate chapter by itself, that we can go in more detail. For example, we can have location decision tools. We can have some simple calculation on where to put our facilities. Layout. Okay, this is very, very, I think one of the most important, layout. Layout means how you arrange your facilities, from receiving parts until going out of the factory. This is factory, basically layout. Or warehouse, or even services, retail store, supermarkets. They have layout strategies. Every, you know, supermarkets have their layout strategies. So you need to integrate capacity needs, personnel levels, I mean the workers that actually going to produce the products or the goods. And then technology, today we are talking about Industry 4.0, or, you know, Human Society 5.0 in Japan. Human Society. Have you heard IR 4.0, Industrial Revolution 4.0? Little bit. So how does technology, how you're going to, you know, integrate technology into the new, you know, layout? We have talking about smart factory. Smart factory means there's a lot of sensors, there's a lot of automation and robots being used. Okay, of course, Japanese companies, some of them are already very far ahead in terms of automation and robotics. Okay, and inventory control in layout, and where you put your inventory, where do you keep your components, or you put your semi-processed products. Okay, because this will determine the efficient flow of materials, people, and information. If you have a very poor layout means the flow of material is one direction, this direction, then go this direction. So it's haphazard. Okay, haphazard. So you can find the meaning of this word, haphazard. Haphazard means, you know, so you don't want haphazard flow of materials. Right. And another aspect is human resources and job design. One of the most important element in any organization is human resources, especially those who are actually doing the manual work or the work itself. Okay, the manual work or the work itself, and as well as middle managers. Okay, middle managers and young managers. I always believe that human resources is the most important, and job can be designed. There's no such thing as you just let the job develop by itself. No, job must be designed. Work must be developed and created. That is the job of top management or managers to design the work. Of course, the manager, junior manager, should be able to develop and design their own job. Okay. Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly, or just very slant?
Sometimes I
So
can hear clearly.
Because okay, okay. Coming back to this, I think this is my last point. Okay, I'm going to because it's been quite a long, lot of things that I actually introduced to you on my first class. Okay, I think you're going to need to see back my video, then only you can actually understand a lot of other things. So human resource and job design. So you need to design job. Why? Because you need to be, in order to get good workers, good employees, you need to recruit, motivate, and retain personnel with the required talent and skills. Recruitment is not easy. You need to find the correct talent, the best talent. Sometimes you make the wrong mistakes. You think it's good, but you cannot do the work. So that's sometimes happen. But anyway, if you find a wrong candidate, there's always never too late to motivate and to upskill, give motivation. Everyone can give the opportunity to people to learn. And, you know, I believe in this, you know, motivation is the most important thing in any organization to survive. Motivation, the leader, the first is the leader. The manager and the leader must first be motivated. If the leader is not motivated, how is going to motivate others? So that's the first rule. And also a motivated leader must not be a dictator. Dictator means, you know, dictator? Dictator. Dictator, you know, someone who autocratic leader. Autocratic means I do my way. Do my way. I think many people, many leaders fail to become leader because, you know, they always think that their way is right. No, sometimes your way is wrong. So you have to listen to other people's way. Okay. Fujio Cho is one of Toyota chairman. You know, Fujio Cho. And he said that, you know, you cannot become, there's three types of leaders. One is the dictator leader. One is the laissez-faire. Laissez-faire is, this is also no good. A manager who said, oh, okay, do your way. Do your way. So, cannot, how can you going to do a work if someone don't guide you? Understand? Okay. So you need to guide and you need to discuss. Okay. And it is an integral and expressive part of the total system design in terms of you know, human resources. Right. So do you have any questions? have any questions before that? Let me just. I have a lot of things to. I have a lot of things to actually share with you and tell you. Today we can learn from anywhere, anything, anywhere. Where is my? Aha! Hey, can you see this? Miro?
Yes.
Miro? Okay. So Chairman Cho of Toyota, 3 keys to lean leadership. Lean. You know, lean Toyota production system. I will teach you later on. Oh, sorry. I want to show this actually. This. Leadership models. Dictator style. All dictator style. Do it my way. My way. Okay. This is 1970 empowerment style. Do it your way. So manager, don't care. Let's do it. Laissez-faire. But no, we need to do the best is this third way. Lean style. Follow me, and we will figure this out together. We will discuss and decide. Okay, so develop this. These are the things that must be, developed and think about. Okay, so just skip to close. Okay, skip. But this one is Chairman Cho. 3 keys is go see. Gemba Gembutsu. Senior management must go down. This I believe in this. That's what I do. I believe in this system because I work in Proton for 6 years. 6 years in Proton Mitsubishi joint venture. So one of the things is Gemba Gembutsu. Even though Toyota, but it's Japanese. Ask why. Use the why technique daily. Why? 5 why. Gokai. Naze, kotai, naze, kotai. So get the answer, why. Answer, why. Why are you late? I'm late because I woke up late. Why are you woke up late? Why I woke up late? Because I slept late. Why you sleep late? Because I play a game. So ask why. Show respect. Respect your people. Okay, so soremo kitsu desu ne. Mo jijihan. Oh no, niju. Sorry, 12:30. 12:30 in Japan now. So you are at home, Yuma?
Yes, I'm at home in Yokohama, still in Yokohama.
Yeah, Yokohama. I've been to Yokohama. Your house or your parents' house or your rented house?
I live with my grandmother now.
Grandmother. Oh,
My
okay.
hometown is more northern area.
Which city?
My hometown is Iwate. It's a very cold area.